Hi, my name is Yuri Rogo. I'm a climate scientist, and today I'll be answering some of the most posed questions on climate change. Is climate change caused by humans? Yes, the climate change we are experiencing today is caused by humans. We know that climate change is happening because thermometers, we are measuring global temperatures and the temperatures of our oceans now for more than a century, and we see that there is a clear trend upwards, but just knowing that the earth is warming isn't enough. So at the same time, we're also measuring that carbon dioxide is going up in the atmosphere. The interesting thing is that we can show with isotopes that carbon comes from the burning of fossil fuels. Is climate change accelerating? Climate change is actually happening pretty much the way that we as scientists expect it to happen. As long as we are putting more carbon dioxide and other greenhouse gases into the atmosphere, we expect global warming to continue. So if we want to decelerate it, if we want to stop it, we also know what we need to do, and that is to bring those greenhouse gas emissions down. Does COVID affect climate change? Well, COVID doesn't directly affect climate change, but it affects the way in which we live. I'm sitting here today in my room because of COVID. I'm not going into work because of COVID. Because of those changes in society, we produce much less emissions. We estimate that the emissions in 2020 will be around 7% lower than they were in 2019. But it is really a very small fraction. If we would revert to our old ways after this year, the drastic and massive changes and massive emission reductions that we have seen will add up to only 0.01 degree, which is not measurable in the real world. Many countries are putting forward stimulus or recovery packages, and if that money is spent in a wise way, in a way that looks forward and that has a long-term vision, this COVID recovery money can help us transform to a low-carbon society. Is climate change a social issue? Yes, climate change is a social issue. Poor populations and vulnerable populations are affected disproportionately by climate change. There are also social dimensions to the solutions to climate change. The richest 1% of the global population produces more emissions than the lowest 50%. Around 80% of global emissions are currently coming from G20 countries. So it is clear that solutions need to be found in those geographies. How do we stop climate change? The physics of stopping climate change are quite well understood. We need to bring down global emissions to net zero. We as a society really need to reinvent and reimagine the way we do things. We can make choices. Not all of it can be solved by individuals because we cannot always choose the energy that is provided to us. We cannot always choose all the products that are available in shops. However, as individuals, we can make some choices, and we can also influence our governments to make the long-term choices and the more systemic choices that need to transform our societies to reach a net zero world.